Music and language have many things in common, and one of those things is called the prosodic stress. Today we're going to take a look at what that is, how that sounds like in music, and how you can use it to give your songs more impact. The prosodic stress is the stress placed on words within sentences. So, for example, yesterday I went for a walk. 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 Even though the sentence doesn't change, the meaning of it does, depending on which word has the stress. As you might have noticed, you can stress important words by either increasing their length and rhythm, or by relatively increasing their pitch. And lastly, there can be multiple stresses in a sentence, even though one is usually dominant. So I could say, yesterday, I went for a walk. Music is a language, and you're speaking through it as well. So when lyrics have a prosodic stress, usually you can find one in your music as well. In Rick Ashley's Never Gonna Give You Up, there's a good mix of both strong and weak accents, and a good mix-up of both different rhythms and melodies on the words. So I'm never gonna give you up, of course. It's important that you know that. Not that I'd never give you up, but that I'd never give you up. And even more important than that, I think, is that I never give you up, as opposed to down. Which works lyrically, of course, because the next line is, I'm never gonna let you down. I'm repeating that I'm never gonna, so I don't have to stress that either this time. What I am stressing is that I'd never let you down. This is quite a balanced way of writing, but you could also use one way more than the other one. For example, you could write very melodically, but barely use any rhythm variations, or use a lot of rhythm and barely any melody. Because one is more prominent, the other one becomes more important, because it's less used, which makes it a good technique to use when you want to make one word really important. For example, when I perform spiritual miracles on the precipitations below Europe, I make sure the only word I stress melodically is Africa. I hope that was deconstructed enough to avoid the copyright system. Please God, don't sue me. Music is a language, and through the rhythmic and melodic stresses in a melody, you're speaking, you're telling a story. You don't have to use any words because the melody itself is the sentence. And this is what I love about my job as a composer, because I get to write stories without using words. Music speaks just as much as your lyrics do, so the language of your lyrics and the language of your music have to work together to tell a coherent story. If your melody and your lyrics mean the same thing, you enhance your message. Now, if you don't, and your lyrics and your melody mean two different things, you're essentially saying two different things as well, which is not good or bad, but you have to be aware of it, so you can make the choice, do I use that or not? For example, let's take the sentence, I've had enough. There's a couple of different ways we can interpret this. It might be angry, it might be frustrated, it might be slightly angry, it might be sad, it might be hopeful because I've had enough, finally I'm breaking out of this. So when we translate that lyric to melody, there's a couple of different things we can try with it. I might sing, I've had enough. That's kind of down, there's not a lot of energy there. I might be done with it all. I've had enough. The world is weighing me down. I can't take it anymore. While at the same time, I've had enough. That's done. I'm done. I can't take it anymore. I've had enough. I want to break out of this. I'm angry. And then you could be singing something like, I've had enough. Well, to me, that feels a little more lively. There's energy there now. I've had enough. I'm done. Maybe I couldn't because I was stuck or I didn't dare. I didn't have the guts. I was afraid. Now I've had enough. I've hit that breaking point and I'm done. I'm moving on. I've had enough. Yeah, let's go, Because writing music is so similar to using language, the way you personally speak is reflected in the way you write your music. So how can we use all this? How can we make this personal? We write a story. That's the abstract version of what we're doing as writers. We write a story. So consider what it is you want to share with your audience. What story would you like to tell them? Think of your lyrics that way. Think of how would you tell your lyrics to your friends or family, and imagine how you would feel telling them. Would you be sad? Would you be angry? Would you be frustrated, embarrassed? Or you want to be joyful and you want to make them feel that as well? Would you tell them sitting down or standing up? Would you use a lot of words? What would that sound like? What would your inflections be? where would you place your prosodic stresses throughout your lyrics? So one way I like to practice this is I like to write down my lyrics and then to a stuffed animal, for example, I deliver these lyrics in a manner that fits the feeling and story of the song. So for example, incredibly frightened in this case. And then I record myself doing that so I can hear the stresses I use in my natural speech. And then I write that along with my lyrics.
Imagine the night never ending. Imagine that nightmares are real. Imagine that spiders could chase you and catch you and eat you alive as a meal.
So what we effectively did here is create a little graphical score, and we could just sing along with it. This is gonna go up, this is gonna go down, this is long, this is short, and there we go.
Imagine the night never ending. Imagine that nightmares are real. Imagine that spiders could chase you and catch you and eat you alive. What a meal.
Now this is usually very intuitive to us, but writing it down this deliberately is just going to help you be a little bit more aware of the way you speak naturally and the way you speak in music. In a way, this is about discovering your voice in music, so what will you say?